Today, this is the latest video update for this Wednesday afternoon on severe tropical storm Tembin and also on Bolaven, which is now transitioned into an extratropical cyclone in the northeastern part of China. Begin first with severe tropical storm Tembin moving east of China. Last located approximately 290 kilometers southeast of Shanghai. Maximum sustained winds remain at 110 kilometers per hour with gusts of up to 155 kilometers per hour. Now the system is currently moving northward at 20 kilometers per hour. You see in this latest visible image, the system is still maintaining a pretty good core, and latest satellite data actually still showing winds of around 100 kilometers per hour. Infrared image also showing some still pretty good convective activity, particularly along the southern half of the circulation center, which is located somewhere over here. In fact, the radars from eastern China picking up the circulation of the system. You can see the bright bands of radar returns here, and also the outer bands impacting parts of coastal Zhejiang province, not reaching Shanghai at the moment, and we don't really think they will receive any significant amount of rain, but there will be showers here from time to time, but not really expected to be much, and the system is moving northward, so not much impacts expected for eastern China. However, the system is starting to interact with the, in fact, let's return to the infrared image. You can see those outflow and in fact high level clouds moving ahead of the system. There are some pretty strong upper level winds from the southwest and blowing those rain clouds to the north, and in fact here the latest radars from Korea picking up, from South Korea picking up rain bands associated with Tembin moving near Jeju Island and also into the southwestern part of South Korea. Suppose we think those rains will start impacting the region in later tonight, and will only get worse as we move into tomorrow and into the afternoon hours, as Tembin is unfortunately forecast to make landfall here in South Korea. So it does look like sorry, it does look like a 1-2 punch for the Korean Peninsula here. I remember Bolaven made landfall along the northern portion of North Korea yesterday, impacted South Korea as well, bringing heavy rains and strong winds. Well, now we are looking at another tropical system, albeit a weaker one, and much smaller in scale. You can definitely probably compare this with the Bolaven, a very big cyclone, and brought rains for more than 12 hours along South Korea. This one is much smaller in size, although it is also moving quite slower than Bolaven, moving northward at 20 kilometers per hour. So big difference. Nevertheless, still some rains and heavy strong winds and also rough surf should be expected along South Korea and even into North Korea. In fact, the latest forecast from JDWC forecasting a landfall near Kunsan Air Base along the western portions of South Korea, passing just south of Seoul perhaps by Thursday, tomorrow evening, weakening to a weak tropical storm by landfall. But that doesn't really matter much now, except the biggest threat here actually is the rains and also the rough surf. JMA also forecasting landfall along the southwestern portions of South Korea near Mokpo, and compare this with JTWC. JMA is forecasting a very slow movement actually come tomorrow and into Saturday, not expecting Tembin to exit the peninsulas through Friday evening. So if that happens, expect lots of rains for much of South Korea's system. Will, if it does move very slowly upon landfall. And we were talking about Bolaven earlier. The system is now moving across northeastern part of China and actually crossing into Far East Russia now. It is has transitioned into an extratropical cyclone, fully embedded in the baroclinic zone now. Still brought some rains across North Korea and even into China yesterday evening, and in early this morning as well. Still some reports of roughly 50 to 100 millimeters across North Korea, somewhat lighter than what we've been expected, probably because of the system moving very quickly. It made landfall moving 40 kilometers per hour to the north, so it zoomed by North Korea, which is a good thing. There were some isolated reports of 150 millimeters to 200 millimeters, but definitely could have been worse in terms of the damages. In fact, the KCNA, the official state news agency of the North Korea, reporting a very little damage, if anything, especially in Pyongyang. They came out relatively unscathed over there. However, there are major damages across farmlands being reported due to the floods and heavy rains, of course, definitely hurting the farmers in terms of harvest, the crops. South Korea, unfortunately, did report 9 casualties, 7 of them actually fishermen. Reported yesterday of Chinese boats that sank near Jeju Island, killing 4. Much of the country is now back to normal. No more power outages being reported, and also no more cancellations of flights. But unfortunately, again, we are continuing to watch the development of Tembin, which is unfortunately about to make landfall in South Korea in the next 24 to 36 hours. So another storm to deal with, unfortunately. So please always listen to the official forecast, especially from Korean Meteorological Administration, giving warnings, and also you can access their latest radar images from their website. Finally, move on to the hurricane now. Isaac, which is a category 1 hurricane and is moving into New Orleans here in Louisiana. It finally strengthened into a category 1 hurricane roughly 6 to 12 hours ago. It has moved very little in the past 6 hours. Actually, it made landfall but then moved back into the Gulf of Mexico, and you can see in this latest infrared seems to be some dry air along the northwestern section of the system. The system did look much healthier a few hours ago. Nevertheless, the system is still bringing lots of heavy rains and strong winds. Some reports of wind gusts of up to 80 miles per hour in some areas here, so definitely hurricane force gusts. Sustained winds been around 50 to 60 miles per hour, somewhere around 80 to 100 kilometers per hour. Along with the strong winds, it's the heavy rains that gonna be the biggest problem for New Orleans and the nearby areas. You can see in this latest radar image from the National Weather Service, bright yellow bands bringing heavy rainfall rates moving into New Orleans, moving into some parts of Louisiana, and also those those easterly and southeasterly wind flows bringing piling up water across the Bay Area here. Lake Pontchartrain, latest updates, not really seeing anything major or dangerous at the moment. Levees seem to be holding up here, although we are seeing reports of storm surges of up to 10 feet in some areas east of New Orleans. Definitely to keep an eye out here, because of the threat of rains and storm surge exacerbated due to the fact that the system will be moving very slowly in the next 24 hours. It is only making landfall now. I mean, technically it's second landfall, but only moving into Louisiana now. Remember, it stayed offshore for at least 12 hours here, so expect at least 10 inches of rain being forecasted in and around New Orleans, and some spots could definitely get up to 20 inches of rain in the next 24 to 36 hours. The latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center forecasting a very slow movement. Look at that, 7 p.m. Wednesday. This is Central Time, I believe. Just barely moving to the north. It will weaken, but still the threat of the heavy rains will continue for much of Louisiana, particularly across New Orleans. So for the latest updates on those, you can always check the National Hurricane Center and also the Weather Channel doing live updates, round the clock updates on this system. And also you can also go to our affiliate 28storms.com for the latest. They are also doing actually live feed from Louisiana for the latest updates on those as well. And if you are in South Korea, please keep checking out KMA for the latest updates, warnings, and forecasts. Stay safe, guys. Bye bye.